Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. In today's video we are going to be doing my May 2021 collection video. This is the video series where every 6 months I get all of my 1 to 400 scale planes, I put them on a table and kind of just talk through them. In today's video we have around 286 planes. That's an increase of 48 within the last 6 months. Of course, the largest airline you'll see on this table is United Airlines. We have 51 United aircraft, closely followed by British Airways in second place with 34 planes. But with that being said, let's go ahead and start this video. Okay, and so starting off down here we have the 2 United Express Dash 8 200s. Then we have 3 of the new livery United Express CRJ 550s. We then have 2 of the old livery United Express Embraer 170s. We then have 2 of the old livery Embraer 175s. 3 of the new livery Embraer 175s. We then have 6 of the United A319s. These first 2 are the Panda models versions, and then we have 4 of the Gemini Jets versions. We then have 2 of the older Gemini Jets A320s. We then have quite a few of the 737-800s. We have the first 3 are from Gemini Jets, and then the second 2 are from NG models. We then have another 2 Star Alliance 737-800s from NG models. We then have 2 of the old livery 737-800s from Gemini Jets. We then have one of the old mold 737-900s in the old livery. We then have the Eco Sky 737-900. We have a 737 MAX 8 in the old livery. Moving on to the 757s now, we have the 2 Herat here livery aircraft. We have the California livery one, and then we have the New York one as well. We then have an old livery 757-200, an old livery 757-300. We then have an old livery 767-300 and 2 of the new livery 767-300s. Moving on to the Dreamliners now, we have the old livery 787-8, 2 of the new livery 787-9s, and then we have 3 of the 787-10s, 1 in the old livery, 2 in the new livery. And then finally moving on to the Boeing, well the 777 aircraft I should say, we have the old livery 777-200ER. I got rid of my second one of these just because it was a little bit damaged. And then we have my 2 new livery 777-200s. These are the non-ER variants, so these primarily operate around the United States. Then we have the new livery 777-300ER, the old livery 777-300ER, and of course my first United model, which is the United 747-400. Next up, moving on to American, and starting down here with the regional aircraft, we have 2 of the American Eagle CRJ 200s. We then have an American Eagle CRJ 700, 2 of the American Eagle Embraer 175s. We have an American A320, we have an A321, 737-800, 737-800 in the One World livery, 737 MAX 8, one of the 757-200s in the new livery, one of the 757-200s in the Chrome livery, a 757-200 in the Chrome One World livery. We then have an American MD-83, we have a Spirit A321, this is the NG version. We have the Spirit A321, the Gemini Jets version, the Spirit A320 Neo. Then moving on to Southwest, starting off with the Canyon Blue aircraft, we have the Southwest Airlines 737-800 without the splits. Then we have the Southwest 737-800 with the split scimitars. We have the 737-700 with the splits. We have 2 of the older Gemini Jet 700s without the split scimitars. Then we have the state liveries. We have a Colorado 1, we have a Triple Crown 1, Tennessee 1, Florida 1, Illinois 1, and Louisiana 1. Then moving on to the Heart liveries, we have the 737-700. We have 2 of the 737-800s, and then the 737 MAX 8 back there. Next up here, moving on to Delta, we have the Connection aircraft. We have a CRJ 200, we have an Embraer 175, a 717, MD-90, 2 737-800s, we have a 737-900, A220-100, A319, A321, one of the 757-200s without winglets, the 757-200 with winglets. Moving on to Alaska now, we have one of the old Alaska Air Cargo 737-400s. We have the Alaska Salmon 30 Salmon 737-800, the Honoring Those Who Serve 737-800, the regular livery 737-800. We have the A320, the A321neo. Then moving on to JetBlue, we have the A321neo, two of the regular A321s. We have the A320, and then moving on to Frontier, we have the A320 there and the A320neo. Starting off here with the Canadian aircraft, we have a Porter Dash 8 Q400. We have an Air Canada Express CRJ 200. We have the CRJ 900, the Embraer 175, the 737 MAX 8, the A321, the Air Canada Rouge A321, the WestJet 737-800. Moving on to Sun Country, we have the Sun Country Old Livery 737-800 and the New Livery 737-800. Then moving on to kind of my European short hauls, I guess you could call this. It's a very small fleet this, but we have the Wizz Air A321, the EasyJet A321neo. We have the WOW Air A321neo. Moving on to Iceland Air now. We have the Iceland Air 737 MAX 8, the Iceland Air 757-200, the Iceland Air 757-200 in the National Geographic livery, the Iceland Air Hekla Aurora 757-200, the 80th anniversary livery, the 757-300 in the 100-year independence for Iceland livery. Moving on to the start of BA, we have the 767-300. We have two of the Concords. This one is Charlie, this one is Delta. We have the 757-200 there in the regular livery. We then have the Chelsea Rose livery, the Scottish Tartan livery, the Blue Pool livery, and then we have a British Airways A321. Then continuing with British Airways, we have two of the 737-200s. The one on the left is the Animals and Trees livery, and the one on the right is the Sterntaler livery. We then have the A380s. We have GXLEI here, then we have GXLED. Moving on to the BA 747 fleet, this is a fleet that has grown significantly over the last 6 months. We have the Retro livery, so here we have the BOAC livery, the Nagus livery, and the Landor livery. Then we have the Rendezvous 747-400 livery. This is the livery to represent Hong Kong. We then have the Nalanji Dreaming 747-400 and the Woonala Dreaming 747-400. These are the liveries to represent Australia. We then have the Nundbel Emily livery. This is the livery to represent South Africa. We then have the Delft Blue Daybreak livery. This is the livery to represent Holland. We then have the Scottish Tartan livery and the Chelsea Rose livery. This is the British Asia Airways 747-400 as well. We then have the One World 747-400, the regular livery 747-400, and then we have two of the newer livery, not newer livery, but the newer 747s. The way you can tell these apart is if you look at the first class cabins down there. When BA kind of refurbished their first class, they had to make some adjustments to the windows, so you can see that there are some windows up in the first class cabins kind of blocked out, but the older ones you can see that it's just like a straight line of all the windows there. And then moving on to the 787s, we have the 787-10, the 787-9, and the 787-8. We then have the 777-200ER and the 777-300ER, and then we have the three A350-1000s. We have the Phoenix version, the first Gemini Jets version, and the second Gemini Jets version. We then have the Air France A380, the Air France 777-300ER, the Air France 777-200ER, the Air France A350-900, the Air France A340-300. Moving on to Lufthansa, we have the Lufthansa 747-8 in the new livery. We have the Lufthansa 747-400 in the old livery. The Lufthansa 747-400 in the new livery. We have the A340-600, the A340-300, the A350-900. Then we have two of the new livery A330-300s. We then have the Virgin Atlantic A330-300, the Virgin Atlantic 747-400, the Aer Lingus old livery A330-200, the Aer Lingus new livery A330-300, and the Aer Lingus A321neo. Moving round to this side now, we have the Air France Concorde, we have the Air Koryo IL62, we have the Gulf Air L1011, the Qantas 747SP, the Pan Am 747SP, the Austrian 767-300, the Austrian 777-200, the Turkish A330-200, the Turkish 787-9, the KLM 787-9, the KLM A330-300, the Alitalia A330-200, the TAP Portugal A330-200, the Swiss A330-300, the Brussels Airlines A330-300, the Aeroflot A330-300, the Scandinavian A330-300, the Scandinavian A350-900, the Finnair A350-900 in the One World livery, then we have the Iberia A350-900 and the fictional EasyJet A350-900 as well. Then moving on to the African and Asian aircraft, here we have the Egypt Air 787-9, the Ethiopian 777-200LR, the Ethiopian 787-9, the Ethiopian 787-8, the Royal Air Maroc 787-8, the Royal Air Maroc 787-9, the Etihad 787-9, the El Al 747-400, the Cathay Pacific A350-1000, the Qatar A350-900, the Qatar A350-900 in the One World livery, the Qatar 777-300 in the One World livery, the ANA Star Wars 787-9 livery. We then have the ANA 777-200 in the 2020 livery, the ANA 777-300, the Air India 777-300, the Saudi Arabian 777-300, the Air China 777-300, the Emirates 777-300, and then finally the Emirates A380 down the end there. We then have the South African A350-900, the South African A330-300, the South African A340-600, the Korean Air 777-300. This is my only non-ER version of the 777-300. We then have the Korean Air 787-9, the Air New Zealand 747-400, the German government A350-900, we have the French Air Force A330 MRTT, the Royal Air Force A330 MRTT, the Royal Air Force A330 MRTT in the Vespine livery, the Turkish government A330-200, the Hawaiian A330-200, the Avianca A330-200, the Avianca A321, the Volaris A320neo, the Copa Air 737-800, the Air Mexico 737-800, the La Campanier 757-200, the Four Seasons 757-200, the Omni Air International Charters 757-200, and the Boeing Business Jet 737-700 down there as well. Then up here with the cargo aircraft, we have the Cargolux 747-8, we have the Cargolux 747-8 in the Maersk livery, the Polar Air Cargo 747-8, the Atlas Air Cargo 747-8, the Airbridge Cargo 747-8, the UPS Cargo 747-8, we then have the Chinese IL-76, then back here we have the Antonov 225, the Antonov 124, the UPS 767-300, the FedEx 767-300, the FedEx 757-200, the DHL 757-200, the DHL 757-200 in the Jeremy Clarkson livery, and the DHL 757-200 in the James May livery. Moving on to the military aircraft now, we have two of the United States Air Force C-5 Super Galaxies. This is the Dover Air Force Base version, and we have the San Antonio version there as well. We have one of the NATO C-17s, we have the Royal Air Force C-17, the Chinese Y-20, and the Air Secure Columbia 727 there as well. Continuing with military, we have a Royal Air Force A400M, we have a Luftwaffe A400M, we then have a French Air Force A400M, we have the Royal Netherlands Air Force C-130, the Royal Air Force C-130, the Blue Angel C-130, and the US Coast Guard C-130. We then have an Arizonian-based KC-135, a Hawaiian-based KC-135, the US Navy P-8 Poseidon, the Royal Air Force P-8 Poseidon. We have the Royal Air Force VC-10. We have another one of those. Then we have an Omega tanker 707. We have the Virgin Galactic VSS Unity. We then have one of the United States Air Force E-4B Doomsday planes. We have the C-32, the Royal Air New Zealand Air Force 757-200. We have 2 of the B-2 bombers. We then have a B-1 bomber, and then concluding this video, we have 4 of the US Air Force F-117s. And just like that, that does conclude my May 2021 collection update. I hope you enjoyed this. It's always nice every 6 months to just kind of stop and have a look at my entire collection and see how the collection's grown and evolved. We have some pretty exciting stuff coming over the next few months. Of course, we have some flight content coming pretty soon. I'm very excited to kind of reintroduce that to the channel because, of course, over the coronavirus, I haven't really been able to fly, but we should have some of that coming over the next few weeks. And as well, when it comes down to model content, of course, I'm still working on Washington Dulles. Now, this isn't set in stone yet, but I am hoping to have the first Washington Dulles update out on the first Friday of August. I believe that should be the 8th of August, if I'm not mistaken, but again, that isn't set in stone. I'll have to kind of adjust for that as we get nearer to that time. And then, of course, once we've got Dulles out there, we're going to have my How to Build a Model Airport 2021 edition. Also, my room tour is going to come out as well. And then, of course, after that, we're going to start on the expansion of Washington Reagan. I'm hoping to get all of that done by the end of this year, so at the end of this year, we'll have a fully operational Washington Dulles, Baltimore Thurgood, and Washington Reagan. And then when it comes to 2022, we won't really need to renew any of the airports. We've got a perfectly running Baltimore, Dulles will be done, and Reagan will be done as well. So we're going to be saying goodbye to the DC area for now. Of course, we'll have the updates coming out regularly, but for new airports, we're going to be saying goodbye to the DC area, and we're going to be going to a completely different place around the planet. I won't give away what airport we're going to be doing next, but I'll just give you this hint. I'm very excited. But apart from that, I want to thank you very much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.